Listen closely. The noise of the world fades for a reason. This is not coincidence, it is divine interruption. Heaven pauses its rhythm to reach you, because your name has been spoken in the courts of eternity. You have carried storms in silence. You've endured nights when even prayer felt heavy. But now, something in the atmosphere shifts. The same power that holds galaxies in place turns its gaze toward you. This is your rescue moment. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 18, verse 19. He brought me out into a spacious place. He is with me because he delighted in me. You feel that? The weight lifting, the stillness deepening, as if the air itself waits for your answer. That's heaven breathing hope back into your lungs. You've been walking through narrow places, tight corners of fear, doubt, and disappointment. You thought the pressure was punishment, but it was preparation. God was not withholding peace. He was building endurance. Imagine a diver sinking beneath waves. The pressure increases. Vision blurs, and silence roars louder than sound. Just before the lungs give out, a strong hand breaks through the water, pulling upward, into air, into light. That's what's happening to you right now. God says, I will rescue you. Okay, there was once another chosen one, a man whose prayers had gone unanswered for years. He worked quietly, unseen, faithful, but weary. One night, while walking home, he stopped under a broken streetlight and whispered, "If you still hear me, show me." The next morning, an unexpected message arrived, a job offer, a door he never imagined would open. That was not luck. It was heaven's timing colliding with obedience. Maybe your moment looks different. Maybe your streetlight is this very message. Every detail aligns for a reason. Heaven doesn't waste alignment. It orchestrates rescue. You are not beyond reach. Grace travels through the wreckage, through your mistakes, through the very walls you thought kept God out. Every scar you hide is already known, and still, He delights in you. The truth is simple. Rescue is not earned, it's accepted. All you need to do is respond. You are standing between what was and what can be. The clock is moving, but this time, every second carries mercy. 21 minutes of divine opportunity to decide, to surrender, to believe. Don't wait for the perfect feeling. Heaven moves when faith breathes, not when circumstances align. Say it quietly if you must. I trust you. That whisper echoes louder than fear. Your past no longer defines the boundaries of your future. God is rewriting what was broken, restoring what was stolen. The story isn't ending, it's shifting. So, if these words find you, let them awaken something you thought was gone. Hope is still alive. The rescue has already begun. And when you feel it, the quiet, trembling, confirmation in your spirit, don't keep it hidden. Share the light forward. Someone out there needs to know they're not alone in the waiting. If this message speaks to you, take a moment to like, share, or comment 444 as a sign that you hear and receive what heaven is saying. And if you want to stay connected to what God is revealing, subscribe, because this is only the beginning of your rescue story. You are seen. You are called. You are being pulled from the storm into the spacious place He prepared for you. Each rescue begins with a response. The moment you choose to believe, heaven begins to move in ways you cannot see. What once felt delayed begins to accelerate. Doors you never knocked on start opening. People you thought forgot, you begin to reappear, not by chance, but by divine appointment. Every shift around you is God whispering, "See, I was here all along." There is no darkness too thick for his light to pierce. Even now, angels are standing guard over you, holding back what was meant to destroy you. The same power that raised Christ from the grave is rewriting your tomorrow. You will not end where you began. You are moving from survival to significance. If fear tries to return, speak truth louder than the lie. Say, "I am rescued. I am covered. I am chosen." Those words carry weight in the spirit. They draw heaven closer and remind the darkness that you belong to no one but God. This moment is a seed. Nurture it. Feed it with prayer, with truth, with small acts of obedience. What begins as a whisper today will become a roar of testimony tomorrow. So lift your head. Breathe. The rescue is not coming. It's already here. Heaven has reached down, and you are safe in the hands that never fail. You have carried more than most. The world sees the surface, your calm smile, your steady walk, but heaven has seen the weight beneath it all. The sleepless nights, the silent battles, the prayers whispered into darkness. You've held together what others would have let fall apart. And now, the one who watched you carry it says, "Lay it down. I will carry it from here." There are seasons when God hides his hand, not because he has abandoned you, but because he is teaching you what your strength really is. You thought you were surviving by endurance, but heaven calls it faith. Every moment you refused to give up was counted, every tear stored. The voice of God echoes in the book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 1. "Come, let us return to the Lord. He has torn us to pieces, but he will heal us. He has injured us, but he will bind up our wounds." You know this feeling, the tearing before the healing. You've walked through the valley where joy felt foreign and silence became your only companion. Yet even there, in that hidden place, God was working, like a potter pressing clay on a wheel. He was shaping you, spinning you faster, not to break you, but to form you. The hands that held you steady through chaos are the same hands that will restore what was lost. Think of a tree standing through winter, its branches stripped, its colors gone. People passing by think it's dead, but underneath, beneath the frozen surface, life pulses quietly in its roots. The roots stretch deeper, seeking water. When spring finally arrives, it doesn't begin life. It reveals the life that never left. That's you. You've mistaken delay for denial. You've confused silence with absence. But heaven's timeline doesn't follow the clock on your wall. God's promises don't expire because you got tired. They mature like fruit in unseen orchards, ripening in seasons you can't predict. There was a man named Elias, one of God's hidden ones. For years, everything he touched seemed to crumble. Businesses failed. Friendships fell apart. He prayed, fasted, and waited. But heaven was quiet. One night, overwhelmed, he cried out, "God, why would you give me vision and then blindfold me?" And in the stillness, a whisper came, "Because you're learning to walk by faith, not sight." That was the night Elias stopped asking why and started asking, "What now?" That small shift changed everything. The silence became instruction. The waiting became preparation. Your waiting has not been wasted either. The weight you've carried has built muscles that will carry destiny. You have learned endurance in the dark, so that when the light comes, you won't crumble under glory. Sometimes, God allows heaviness, so you'll recognize lightness when it returns. Sometimes, He permits the wilderness so that, when you reach the promise, you'll know how to guard it. There's a strange beauty in brokenness. A vessel that's been cracked lets light escape in ways perfection never could. Perhaps that's why you felt the breaking so deeply, because God intends for His light to shine through every fracture. And when you look back, you'll realize it was never punishment. It was positioning. Every delay was direction. Every heartbreak, redirection. The pain that tried to bury you was actually planting you. If you could see what's ahead, you'd understand why the wait was necessary. You've been carrying not just your own story, but generations waiting to be freed through your obedience. You are the hinge heaven will use to open doors for others still locked in silence. Do not despise the heaviness. It's proof you're built for something greater. The mountain you've been climbing wasn't meant to crush you. It was meant to elevate your view. From the top, you'll see what was hidden from below. Soon, the burden will shift. What once felt like chains will become wings. The same tears that once fell in pain will water new beginnings. And one day, you will tell this story, not from the valley, but from the other side of it. You will stand before others who are where you once were and say, "I know what it means to carry too much, and I know the one who lifted it." So rest now, not because everything is fixed, but because you are finally learning to trust the one who can fix it, the one who heals after the tearing, the one who binds after the breaking. Your story is not ending, it's unfolding. The weight you've carried is about to become the testimony that sets others free. You've been fighting battles no one else can see. On the outside, people think you're fine, but inside, there's a storm that never stops. The kind of storm that doesn't destroy, it transforms. Heaven has watched you stand through pressure that could have broken others. Every time you chose faith instead of fear, you were proving that your spirit was forged in divine fire. The ancient text reminds us in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 19, "They will fight against you, but will not overcome you. For I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord." Read that again slowly. They will not overcome you. The odds can rise. The attacks can multiply. But heaven's decree remains unmoved. You are protected by a promise, not by circumstance. Think of a soldier standing alone in the middle of a battlefield, dust swirling, sky darkening, but his stance is unshaken because he knows he's not truly alone. That's you. The storm isn't proof of God's absence, it's proof of your anointing. You've been asking why life feels like a war zone. The answer is simple: light never fights for nothing. If darkness is fighting this hard to stop you, it's because your calling terrifies it. There's a woman named Mara, a quiet soul who spent years feeling unseen. Every time she tried to step into her calling, opposition rose. People misunderstood her. Doors slammed shut. Friends drifted away. One night, she whispered, "God, I'm cursed." But a voice came, soft yet strong. "No, you're marked." From that night, everything changed. The pressure didn't end, but her perspective did. She realized that being chosen often looks like being challenged. You, too, have been marked not for destruction, but for destiny. Every unseen battle you've faced has trained your spirit to recognize truth. You now know how to spot deception, how to discern real peace from counterfeit calm. There's power in your endurance. Each morning, you rise despite the weight. Heaven calls it victory. Each tear you've cried in silence has watered the soil of a future harvest. Nothing has been wasted. Sometimes, God allows the war to continue until you realize you're not fighting for victory, you're fighting from it. The outcome was sealed before the first arrow was fired. The moment you were chosen, the end was written. You win. Take this truth to heart. Your resilience is not weakness. It's warfare. Your quiet strength has confused the enemy more than your words ever could. You carry peace as a weapon. Pause for a moment. Feel the stillness behind these words. The same hand that steadied David's sling is holding your life steady now. You don't have to rush, strive, or prove. You only need to stand. When you stand, mountains tremble. When you stand, darkness loses footing. When you stand, heaven moves. Now, it's time to declare what your spirit already knows. Type, I will not fall. End of T. Don't just write it as a phrase, see it as a line drawn in the spirit. You're telling every fear, every memory of defeat, every lingering lie, you no longer have authority over me. I will not fall, because God upholds you, because His word has already covered your future, because you've come too far to turn back now. Let this declaration echo beyond the screen. Let it rise through your chest, through your prayers, through the atmosphere of your home. Angels recognize faith when it speaks. Heaven responds when truth is declared. You've endured enough nights of questioning. It's time to stand in knowing you are chosen. You are guarded. You are already being rescued. Chosen one viet by Danoi. When you say, I will not fall, heaven doesn't just hear your words, it measures your faith. Each syllable becomes a stone beneath your feet, forming a path forward. You're not just typing a sentence, you're building an altar of declaration. That altar stands as proof that even when you were shaken, you still chose to stand. Understand this. Standing firm doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you refuse to let fear decide your future. Courage isn't the absence of trembling, it's movement in spite of it. God doesn't expect perfection, He expects perseverance. Every breath of determination becomes a prayer louder than words. So the next time the storm rises, remember this moment. Picture yourself saying it again. Stronger, I will not fall. The ground might shake. The winds might scream. But truth will hold you steady. You are anchored in divine promise, not in circumstance. This is the beginning of strength that cannot be taken from you. Heaven calls you unshaken. Earth will soon see why. There comes a point when the noise fades and you begin to hear what's been there all along, the still, small voice that never stopped speaking. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It simply waits for your attention, whispering through quiet moments and unexpected silences. That voice has been guiding you, warning you, comforting you, even when you didn't realize it was God. Scripture speaks clearly in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper, you've been searching for thunder, expecting God to reveal himself through something dramatic, an open door, a miracle, a sign written across the sky. But heaven often hides its greatest answers in whispers. The whisper doesn't need to be loud, because truth doesn't compete, it simply is. Sometimes, the whisper comes through the ache in your chest that tells you, this isn't where you belong anymore. Sometimes, it's in the peace that settles when you finally release something you were never meant to hold. And sometimes, it's in the ordinary, a sunrise, a stranger's kindness, a verse you've read 100 times, suddenly glowing with new meaning. That's how heaven speaks, not to your ears, but to your awareness. The world teaches you to chase volume. God teaches you to recognize vibration. His voice doesn't travel through noise, it moves through stillness. There was once a man named Ruel. He had been running his whole life from mistakes, from people, from his own thoughts. He used to fill every moment with sound music, conversations, anything to drown out silence. But one evening, while walking home, his phone died. The city's noise dimmed, and for the first time in years, he heard something different. It wasn't outside, it was inside. A simple phrase repeating gently, "Come home." That whisper became his turning point. It didn't shout, but it changed everything. You may have missed that same whisper many times. It's not because God was silent, it's because the world has been loud. Yet now, something within you is tuning differently. You're beginning to hear frequencies that distraction used to block. That's how divine awareness begins, not with lightning, but with listening. There's a mystery in the way God speaks. He doesn't need to explain. He invites you to trust. He doesn't give the entire map. He gives enough light for the next step. If you've been frustrated by not seeing the whole path, that's not neglect, it's mercy. He's protecting you from rushing ahead of grace. Think of how a shepherd leads. The sheep don't hear a speech, they follow a tone. The voice of the shepherd is steady, familiar, safe. Even when they wander, one call pulls them back. That's what God's whisper is. It's your spiritual GPS recalculating when you've drifted. You might not recognize the words, but your soul knows the direction. To hear that voice, you must make peace with stillness. Stillness is not the absence of movement, it's the alignment of purpose. In stillness, your spirit stops chasing everything and starts discerning what actually matters. The reason so many people miss God's guidance is because they listen to answer, not to understand. But when you quiet your inner noise, you begin to recognize the subtle cues, how peace lingers around some decisions and unease follows others. That's divine direction at work. Maybe you're in that listening season now. It feels like nothing's happening, but heaven is teaching your spirit how to identify the whisper. Before God releases new instructions, He calibrates your hearing. Silence is the classroom where discernment is born. And when you finally recognize that whisper, something changes in you. You stop chasing validation. You stop trying to make sense of timing. You start to trust the invisible conversation happening between your soul and its maker. That's when peace replaces panic. Don't despise quiet seasons. They are not punishment, they are preservation. God hides you in silence so that when He speaks, you won't confuse His voice with the world's. There will come a day when you'll look back and realize that every unanswered question, every pause, every delay was actually a divine conversation in progress. Heaven wasn't ignoring you, it was guiding you through stillness into wisdom. For now, just breathe. Let the noise settle. You don't have to chase the whisper, it's already within reach. The voice that created the stars still knows how to speak softly enough for your heart to understand. In the silence, purpose awakens. What once felt empty now feels sacred, because even the quiet carries God's unmistakable voice. Time is moving, and heaven is leaning closer. You can almost feel it, the quiet countdown of destiny unfolding. Every second holds weight, not as a threat, but as an invitation. You are standing at the edge of a shift, and heaven asks only one thing of you: respond. The word of the Lord declares in the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11, "The hour has already come for you to wake up from your slumber, because our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed." This is your moment to awaken, not with panic, but with purpose, to realize that every delay, every closed door, every waiting season has led you right here. You are not late, you are right on heaven's schedule. Think of life as a great symphony. For years, your section waited in silence, holding its note, watching others play their parts. But now the conductor lifts his hand toward you. It's your turn to join the melody. The pause wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You might not see it, but the music of your obedience is already shifting the atmosphere. The rhythm of your yes to God begins to align you with divine timing. Heaven moves when hearts awaken. But here's the truth: most don't see awakening is not just about hearing, it's about giving back to the source of what gave you life. When light enters you, it is meant to flow outward. What you receive freely is meant to move through you freely. Giving isn't about obligation, it's about echo. When you share what moves you, you help carry the sound further. You become part of the rescue itself. Every act of generosity becomes another thread of light woven into the great tapestry of redemption. There was once a young man named Jonah, not the prophet, but a simple worker who listened to these same words months ago. He said they came to him on a night he was ready to give up. He didn't donate because he was asked. He did it because he understood that light must move. He said, "I didn't give to pay something back. I gave because this message gave me back to myself." And that's the heart of giving. It's never about loss. It's about participation. Imagine holding a candle near a river at night. When you lower your hand, the flame reflects on the water and begins to drift downstream. The river carries that reflection farther than you could ever walk. That's what happens when you like, share, or subscribe. Your small act becomes a reflection carried by the current of grace, reaching souls you will never meet. If this message has stirred something deep inside you, consider letting that light move through your hands. If you feel led, you can donate, not out of pressure, but out of overflow. Think of it as releasing a drop of oil into the lamp of faith, keeping the flame steady so others can still see when their own light grows dim. You can also see giving as a seed, one planted in invisible soil. You may never see where it sprouts, but someone else will find shade beneath its branches. Your giving, your sharing, your voice, it all becomes part of a spiritual ecosystem of hope. And if your means right now are simple, remember, prayer and presence are gifts too. Even a word of encouragement or a quiet amen in the comments helps the message breathe wider. Like, share, subscribe, and if your heart feels that quiet nudge, donate. not as an exchange, but as expression. These small acts are like pebbles dropped into still water. The ripples reach shores you'll never see. You are not giving to a person, you are giving through purpose. You are keeping the light moving down the river. You are helping heaven reach hearts still waiting for rescue. So breathe. No rush. No demand. Just let your spirit respond freely. When someone, somewhere, finds peace through these words, you'll know a piece of your light traveled with it. Every ripple begins somewhere. What you set in motion now will travel farther than you think, touching lives you may never see. That is the mystery of generosity. It multiplies in silence, but its echo lasts forever. So, keep your flame burning. Keep the current flowing. Every act of faith, every word of kindness, every quiet offering keeps the message alive, like light moving from heart to heart. You are part of something greater than yourself. What begins here is not an ending. It is a continuation of heaven's story written through willing souls like yours. You've waited, hoping that one day everything would make sense. You've prayed, asking when the turning point would come. And though it's taken time, heaven whispers now, this is it. The season of delay is ending, and the season of movement has begun. You are standing at the line where waiting turns into walking. The sacred scriptures proclaim in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." Oh, there is courage rising inside you now, not loud, not dramatic, but steady. The kind of courage that doesn't need to prove itself, because it already knows its source. God is not asking you to be fearless. He's asking you to trust while trembling. You have spent months or maybe years stuck between promise and fulfillment. You believed, then doubted, then believed again. It felt like God was silent, but heaven was working in slow motion, rearranging what you couldn't see. The delay wasn't punishment, it was synchronization. The moment you step forward in faith, everything begins to align. Picture a door carved from heavy oak. You've been knocking, wondering why it won't open. But what you didn't see was the locking mechanism behind it, turning slowly, aligning each piece. Heaven's timing is that lock clicking open. What felt like resistance was really protection. God never meant to deny you. He meant to prepare you. There's a story about a woman named Arya. For years, she dreamed of starting something that could help others, something born from her own pain. But every time she tried, things fell apart. One night, frustrated and heartbroken, she said, "Maybe this dream isn't from God." But a quiet thought came. It's not that the dream was wrong. The soil wasn't ready. Months later, when she tried again, everything flowed easily. The same dream that once failed began to bloom. Timing changed everything. You might be standing in that same place. The seed has always been right. Now the soil is ready. The waiting was never wasted. It was watering. There's a divine rhythm to everything God does. When He delays, it's because He's adding strength to your foundation. He doesn't just want you to reach the promise. He wants you to stay there once you do. Sometimes, heaven will keep you in a waiting room so that when the door finally opens, you'll have the wisdom not to run back. Waiting refines your vision. You start recognizing which doors are God's and which are distractions. And now, as you listen, something inside you confirms it. you're stepping into a prepared moment. Things that used to resist you will now begin to flow. The silence is breaking. Still, be careful not to rush. Divine timing isn't a race, it's a rhythm. Move with the Spirit, not ahead of it. Let peace be your compass. If a path feels forced, it's not yours yet. But if it feels like peace, even when it's scary, that's your sign to walk. Heaven's alignment is subtle, but undeniable. It's like a sunrise. It doesn't announce itself. It simply appears. And darkness knows it's over. That's how this new season will feel. And as a symbol of that faith, write this number in the comments, 2222. It's not a superstition or a code. It's a prophetic act of agreement. The number represents divine balance, heaven and earth aligning, timing and obedience, meeting in perfect rhythm. Think of it this way. Every two mirrors partnership, the Creator walking beside His creation, heaven echoing earth, faith responding to promise. Four of them together form a rhythm, a heartbeat of divine alignment. When you type 2222, you are not just writing numbers, you are striking the same rhythm heaven is playing. It's a small act that says, I trust your timing. I follow your lead. I move when you move. And you're not just leaving a comment, you're making a declaration. You're saying to every delay, you served your purpose, but your time is done. You're telling heaven, I'm ready. And everything that once felt out of order is finding its place. Every detour is being woven back into purpose. The waiting was the building, the silence was the shaping. This is not coincidence. This is divine choreography. You're stepping into something written long before your doubt began. The one who led you into the waiting is the same one walking beside you into fulfillment. You are moving from almost to arrived, from not yet to now. And heaven is smiling because you finally trust the timing that once frustrated you. Mercy has been following you quietly, even when you thought it had run out. There were moments you assumed grace had closed its door, that maybe you had gone too far, said too much, or wandered too long. But mercy doesn't retire, it renews. It waits at the edges of your exhaustion, whispering, I'm still here. And the timeless words found in the book of Psalm, chapter 86, verse 5 say, You, Lord, are forgiving and good, abounding in love to all who call to you. You've called, maybe not with eloquent prayers, but with sighs, tears, and the silence that says more than words ever could. And heaven heard. Every time you thought your cry vanished into the dark, it reached the heart of God. Mercy doesn't measure your words, it measures your sincerity. There is a sacred rhythm to mercy. It always moves before judgment. It doesn't erase truth, it redeems it. God doesn't pretend you never fell. He shows the world how He helped you rise. That is the difference between guilt and grace. One reminds you of where you failed. The other reminds you of who you are becoming. Think of a painter restoring an old masterpiece. The cracks remain, but the color returns brighter than before. The damage becomes part of the story, not the end of it. That's what mercy does. It restores beauty without erasing history. You might not realize it, but you are living proof of that restoration. The fact that you're still standing, still searching, still feeling the tug of truth means mercy never left. It's been the invisible hand guiding you through consequences, through confusion, through chaos. There's a story told of a woman named Leona. She had walked away from faith for years. Life hardened her, and guilt became her companion. One night, as she sat alone, she saw a small light flickering from a church window across the street. For reasons she couldn't explain, she walked inside. There were no crowds, no music, just a single candle burning. She sat in silence, and tears came without warning. In that quiet, she didn't hear words, but she felt something ancient and familiar, a love that didn't accuse her for being gone, only welcomed her home. That's what mercy feels like. It's soft but strong, silent but sure. It doesn't chase you down with noise. It waits with open arms until your soul turns back to see it. Sometimes you mistake mercy for delay. You think, why hasn't God corrected me yet? But the truth is, He has been covering you while you learned. Mercy's patience is not approval of sin, it's protection for transformation. Mercy is what stands between who you were and who you are becoming. It keeps you from collapsing under the weight of your own mistakes. It gives you the time and space to grow into the version heaven already sees. There is no expiration date on God's compassion. Even when people give up on you, even when you give up on yourself, mercy keeps knocking. It's the soft knock that says, you still have purpose. Lie, and yet, mercy is not weakness, it's strength restrained. It's heaven saying, justice can wait. Love goes first. That's what held you together in seasons you didn't deserve to survive. Every close call, every unexpected second chance, every I don't know how I made it, that was mercy. You've walked through fire and expected ashes, but found gold instead. You've stumbled into grace and realized it was planned that way all along. Mercy is not surprised by your failure, it's prepared for it. When you understand mercy, you stop running from God and start running toward Him. Shame loses its voice because truth starts speaking louder. You begin to see that your past wasn't a disqualification, it was the setup for compassion to be displayed through you. And here's the beauty of it. Once you recognize mercy, you start extending it. The same grace that caught you becomes the grace that flows through you. That's how heaven multiplies compassion through healed hearts, healing others. So, if you've been carrying guilt, release it now. You can't move forward while holding on to chains that heaven already unlocked. You don't have to prove you deserve mercy, you just have to accept it. Every sunrise is proof that mercy still wakes before you do. Every breath you take is evidence that God's patience still covers you. Look around, the world is harsh, but heaven's love is constant. You are still under construction. But construction means progress. Mercy hasn't finished with you yet, and it won't, until every corner of your heart remembers it's loved. And when you finally see how wide, deep, and unstoppable that mercy is, you'll realize God never left. He just waited for you to stop running so He could walk you home. There are battles that no one can fight for you, wars that happen not on battlefields but within your thoughts. The hardest war is never with people. It's the one you wage inside your own mind. That is where destiny is built or broken. Every doubt, every fear, every whisper of unworthiness gathers there, trying to silence the truth of who you are. The word of the Lord declares in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 5, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. M. Your thoughts are not random, they are a battleground. The enemy doesn't always attack your circumstances, he attacks your perception. If he can convince you that you're powerless, he doesn't need to destroy you, he only needs to distract you. You've noticed it before, haven't you? That subtle inner voice that whispers just before breakthrough, "It's too late," or "You're not enough." Those thoughts don't come from heaven. They are echoes from the dark, designed to steal the sound of faith before it becomes action. The mind is like a city, filled with doors and windows, some open to peace, others to fear. What you allow to enter shapes the landscape within. And when lies build walls, truth feels like a distant sound. That's why God calls you to guard your mind. It's the fortress where his voice takes root. There was a man named Cyrus who once said, "I don't know what's wrong with me. It's like I fight myself every day." He wasn't weak, he was weary. For years, he let every thought enter unchecked. Some days he woke up determined, other days defeated before leaving bed. But one morning, he decided to change one small thing. He began to write every thought that told him he was worthless. And beside it, he wrote what God said instead. Slowly, the noise began to lose power. It didn't vanish overnight, but the balance shifted. Truth began to sound louder. The same can happen for you. When you confront your thoughts instead of running from them, you reclaim your mind. Faith isn't the absence of doubt, it's the refusal to surrender to it. God never asked you to silence every storm. He asked you to recognize his voice within it. Sometimes, peace isn't the quiet after the battle, it's the calm during it. Your mind is sacred ground, and the one who wins there determines what manifests outside. You can't live in freedom if your thoughts remain in chains. That's why Scripture doesn't tell you to escape your mind, it tells you to renew it. Renewal isn't forgetting, it's transforming. Imagine your thoughts as seeds. Every word you repeat, every image you dwell on, plants something in the soil of your spirit. Some seeds bloom into confidence, others into fear. But the soil never decides, it simply grows what you plant. So what have you been watering lately? The doubts, the delays, the what-ifs, or the promises? The glimpses of faith, the truth that you are still chosen. The mind becomes whatever you feed it most. And here's a secret. Peace is not a reward for perfect faith. It's the byproduct of consistent truth. You don't need to conquer every thought at once. You just need to start recognizing which ones don't belong and stop giving them your voice. There's freedom in realizing that not every thought deserves attention. Some are just passing clouds. Let them drift by. You are the sky vast. Unshaken. Unending. Clouds can cover the sun, but they cannot remove it. Your worth remains, no matter what passes through your mind. One day, you'll look back and realize that the war inside you was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal your authority. Every victory in thought becomes a victory in life. Every lie you silence makes more space for truth to speak. And when the next storm rises, you won't panic. You'll simply remember who commands the wind. You'll know that peace isn't something you chase, it's something you already carry. You may not win every battle instantly, but the fact that you're still fighting means the light hasn't gone out. Keep standing guard over your mind. Keep replacing noise with truth. The war isn't endless. It ends the moment you choose which voice to believe. You are not losing your mind, you're learning to take it back. And when clarity finally settles, you'll see that the battlefield was never about destruction. It was about discovery. You weren't losing yourself. You were meeting the stronger version of who you were always meant to be. Something is shifting in the unseen. You may not hear it yet, but heaven's alarm has already sounded. The angels have begun to move, responding to what your obedience has released. Every yes you've whispered in faith has sent a signal through eternity, an echo that heaven recognizes. The Spirit speaks through the writings of Psalm, chapter 34, verse 7. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Deliverance doesn't always come with flashes of lightning or the roar of trumpets. Sometimes it begins with a whisper, a stirring, a quiet awareness that help is nearer than it looks. Angels have always been around you, waiting, guarding, guiding, but obedience activates their assignment. You felt that unseen tug before, moments when something told you to pause before danger, or to move when you didn't understand why. That was heaven's protection. The unseen world has always been more active than you realized. When you step into alignment, heaven multiplies its activity around you. What you call coincidence, heaven calls orchestration. You are never moving alone. Think of it like wind against your back. You don't see it, but it propels you forward. Angels are like that invisible current. They push when you're weary, shield when you're unaware, and whisper courage when your faith feels thin. There was a man named Tobias who nearly gave up one winter. Life had stripped him bare. One night, he sat in silence, praying not for success, but for a sign that heaven still cared. Moments later, his phone buzzed a message from someone he hadn't heard from in years. They said, "You've been on my heart all day." Tobias wept, because he realized that was the sign he'd asked for. Angels move through people too. Sometimes the miracle doesn't look supernatural, it looks like compassion. That's the beauty of divine intervention. It blends seamlessly with the ordinary until you look back and realize the extraordinary was there all along. You might not see it, but even now, heaven is deploying answers. Prayers you forgot, you prayed, are still echoing in God's chambers. Every tear has become instruction in the hands of angels. Every burden you released has been turned into assignment. When you live aware of heaven's presence, fear loses its power. Anxiety begins to dissolve. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you realize the weight isn't all on you. You are surrounded by help unseen but undeniable. There's a rhythm in the spiritual realm that mirrors the heartbeat of the obedient. Every step of faith sends out a sound, like a bell in heaven's halls. The moment it rings, heaven moves. Sometimes, that movement doesn't change your surroundings, it changes you. Angels don't always remove storms. Sometimes they teach you how to stand through them. Their strength becomes your calm. You have to understand this. Protection isn't always prevention, it's preparation. God didn't promise you a life free of conflict, but He promised you company in every fight. And that company is divine. Even now, unseen hands are clearing paths you haven't walked yet. Barriers are dissolving quietly. What once blocked you is being rearranged behind the curtain of the visible. This is why you've felt that sudden peace lately, the kind that doesn't make sense. It's the peace that comes when heaven takes over battles you can't fight alone. Take a breath and feel that presence steady, weightless, certain. The same presence that followed prophets, guided warriors, and comforted saints is hovering around you now. You are not outnumbered. You are surrounded. And to anchor this truth, write in the comments, "Angels are here." Long, say it as a declaration, not a wish. When you write those words, you're aligning your awareness with heaven's activity. You're reminding your spirit that protection is not pending, it's present. The phrase isn't magic, it's memory. It reawakens the truth that you are never fighting alone. Every time fear rises, let those words return to you. Angels are here. Whisper it when the night feels long, when the noise of the world grows heavy, because they are, and they always have been. You are covered, guarded, guided. Heaven has set watchmen over your path, and their orders are simple. Do not let this one fall. When you say, "Angels are here," heaven doesn't just hear you, it responds. Those words are agreement, a signal in the spirit that you recognize what's already around you. Awareness strengthens protection. Faith sharpens perception. You begin to notice guidance in the smallest details, a conversation, a pause, a peace that interrupts panic. So, keep that phrase near your heart. Let it be the reminder that you are never unguarded. Even in silence, divine presence watches over your every step, turning unseen chaos into unseen order. Chains are breaking in places you can't yet see. Every act of obedience you've made, every surrender, every whisper of faith is shaking what once held you bound. The shift isn't only spiritual, it's personal. You're being released from the patterns, fears, and voices that tried to convince you you'd never be free. The testimony of heaven resounds from the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 6. Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen, to loose the chains of injustice, to untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free, and break every yoke? Freedom doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it starts quietly with forgiveness, with letting go, with a choice to stop carrying what God already took from your hands. Freedom isn't an event. It's a daily decision to walk away from what once defined you. You may not have realized it yet, but your release began long before you felt it. Heaven wrote your liberty into time itself, waiting for the moment your heart would catch up with grace. Imagine a bird that has lived so long in its cage, it forgets how to fly. One day, the door swings open. It hesitates, unsure if the sky is still safe. Freedom isn't the moment the door opens. It's the courage to step beyond it. That's you now. The door is open. The air is waiting. God has been removing invisible chains, expectations that weren't yours, burdens you adopted, labels others placed upon you. You are not what people called you in their misunderstanding. You are what heaven named you before you were born. And now, as you walk out of what once confined you, there's a new calling emerging to become a carrier of freedom for others. Chains break not only from you, but through you. The light that freed you becomes the lantern for someone still walking through the valley. Every time you share hope, you're striking a match in someone else's night. Every time you speak life, you're unlocking another cage. You may think your influence is small, but in the spiritual realm, light multiplies faster than words can measure. That's why this space matters not as a channel, but as a meeting place between human hearts and divine purpose. Each message here becomes a ripple. Each listener becomes a torchbearer. And that's where you come in. This movement, This ministry of words, faith, and restoration exists because people like you keep the flame alive. When you like, share, or subscribe, you're not just interacting, you're expanding the reach of light. It's like adding more oil to a lamp so it burns longer in the dark. And if your heart feels stirred to go further to help this message reach beyond screens and into more hearts, you can donate. But not because you're told to, because you want to. Think of it as sowing into the same soil that once grew your peace. Your gift isn't a transaction, it's a continuation. It's like placing another stone in a path that leads the lost home. Every drop of generosity becomes part of something living, breathing, eternal. You may not see where it goes, but heaven does, like rain falling on unseen roots. Your giving nourishes places that would otherwise wither, and one day, someone will find life there, and you'll have been part of that quiet miracle. No one is asked to give out of pressure. This is a call to participate, not to pay. Every seed planted here, whether it's a comment, a prayer, a word of encouragement, or a donation, flows into the same river of grace that has already carried you this far. Think of your support as wind beneath wings that are still learning to fly. Your generosity becomes a gust that lifts others higher. Or like a lighthouse built stone by stone, each contribution is a piece of structure that keeps the flame standing through storms. And if all you can offer right now is your presence, that's enough. Presence is participation too. Stay connected. Like the message, if it speaks to your spirit, share it so it might reach someone still bound. Subscribe if you want to walk with others who are breaking free. And if your heart leads, donate, not as duty, but as devotion. Let giving be your love song to God, a melody that says, "Thank you for my freedom. Now, let it flow through me." Less, because in the end, generosity isn't about money, it's about motion. When gratitude moves, grace multiplies. You are living proof that chains can fall without noise, that freedom can bloom quietly in surrendered hearts. The same God who loosed your yoke will use your life to unlock others. This is not the end of your rescue, it's the beginning of your influence. You are not a survivor, you are a sender of light. And together, we'll keep the flame burning until every heart still trapped in darkness finds its way into the dawn. There are seasons when it feels like the fire is too much. You pray for peace, but the heat keeps rising. You ask for comfort, yet everything around you seems to press harder. It's natural to wonder, why does it have to burn this way? But the truth is, fire doesn't only destroy, it also refines. The prophet's voice still speaks through the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 9. "I will refine them like silver and test them like gold. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, 'They are my people.' And they will say, 'The Lord is our God.'" End of back. Refinement is never comfortable, yet it is never wasted. The flames that surround you are not punishment, they are purification. The same way fire removes impurities from metal, trials remove fear, pride, and the old versions of you that cannot cross into your next chapter. God doesn't burn to harm, He burns to heal. Every trial has a purpose. Every test, a lesson. You're not being reduced, you're being revealed. Think of how a sculptor works. Before beauty can emerge, the chisel must strike. Each blow feels violent, but it's not random, it's precise. The artist sees what the stone cannot, the figure already hidden within. The cutting isn't destruction, it's unveiling. That's what God is doing in you. The pressure you feel is creation in progress. It's easy to praise God when things are soft. But the real transformation happens in the fire, when the noise of comfort fades, when there's nothing left to hold but faith. That's when your roots grow deep. The fire doesn't make you weaker, it exposes the strength that's been there all along. There was a man named Elias who once said, "I thought the fire was killing me until I realized it was killing what was killing me." That is what the refining season feels like. The flames you fear are the very thing freeing you. Sometimes, the fire doesn't come from outside, it's internal. It's the burning ache of conviction. The heat of letting go of something you loved, but can't carry anymore. It's painful. Yes, but necessary. The heart must shed its weights before it can fly. And even when you feel alone in the furnace, you are not. Do you remember the story of the 3 men in Babylon's fire? The flames rose higher, yet they were not consumed. Why? Because a 4th figure walked among them, one whose presence changed the nature of the flames. The fire that could have destroyed became the very stage of divine revelation. The same happens with you. The presence that sustains you is invisible but undeniable. Every degree of heat is measured by the one who holds the thermostat. He knows exactly how hot it can get before glory emerges. You may feel surrounded by flames, but heaven calls it an altar. Fire transforms offerings into fragrance. What feels like loss is worship in disguise. There's a paradox in the kingdom of God. The hotter the fire, the closer his face. The same light that blinds the unready illuminates the faithful. You are walking through holy fire, and on the other side, you'll find clarity you couldn't have gained any other way. When gold comes out of the furnace, it doesn't apologize for the process. It shines. It carries proof that it survived what others could not. The glow you carry now is not pride, it's testimony. Maybe right now you're standing in that glow's making. The smoke is thick. The air feels tight. And you wonder how much longer you can hold on. But endurance is not about lasting forever. It's about lasting until the transformation is complete. God's refining doesn't waste even an ember. Every tear, every sigh, every sleepless night becomes part of the fire that strengthens your foundation. You won't come out smelling like smoke. You'll come out shining like gold. When the process feels unbearable, remember, metal doesn't question the fire when it trusts the smith. You may not understand why it burns, but you can trust the hands shaping you through it. And someday soon, you'll stand before others still in their furnace and tell them, "I know the heat, but it doesn't last forever. It ends in beauty." You'll tell them how the flames became your teacher, how pain turned into purity, how loss became strength. Because refined souls carry a fragrance, the untested never know the scent of grace, endurance, and glory. So, don't curse the fire. Don't beg to escape it too soon. Let it finish its work. For when the heat fades, you will see what heaven already saw, not ashes, but gold, not ruin, but resurrection. You've been sensing it lately, that subtle confirmation that heaven has heard your cry. The signs are appearing not in thunder or spectacle, but in the small alignments around you. Something inside you knows. This is not coincidence. It's as if the pieces of your life, once scattered, have begun to rearrange themselves with quiet precision. According to what is revealed in the book of Romans, chapter 8, Verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Meant, every shift you're noticing, every unexpected conversation, every open door that once seemed impossible, none of it is random. Heaven doesn't deal in accidents. You are standing in the early movements of divine confirmation. Confirmation often comes softly, like dawn breaking through fog. At first, you're unsure what you're seeing, but the longer you stay still, the clearer it becomes. That's how heaven affirms your steps, not through chaos, but through peace. Sometimes, confirmation looks like what doesn't happen. The door that didn't open, the plan that fell through, the person who left suddenly. All of these are as meaningful as blessings received. Heaven speaks through redirection as clearly as through release. There's a story of a woman named Adina. She thought she had lost everything when her business collapsed. She begged God for a sign, but for months, there was silence. Then one morning, she received a message from a former client who told her, "Because of how you treated me, I never gave up." That one sentence was her confirmation proof that what she thought had ended had already produced fruit. Sometimes, confirmation doesn't come to change your path. It comes to remind you your obedience wasn't wasted. And when you least expect it, signs begin to multiply. You find yourself at the right place at the right time. Conversations align. Peace lingers longer. That's not luck, it's heaven's fingerprints. But be careful not to chase signs. They are meant to follow faith, not replace it. The moment you rely on miracles more than the Maker, clarity fades. God gives confirmation to strengthen trust, not to substitute for it. Look around you right now. The very fact that you're reading these words, feeling this stirring, is confirmation enough that heaven hasn't forgotten you. You're being seen, guided, and positioned. There's a divine thread weaving through your days, subtle but consistent. When you pay attention, you'll start to recognize the pattern. It's in the moments that seem too precise to be chance. The song that plays when you need it most. The stranger's kindness that arrives when you're about to quit. The verse that appears exactly when your hope feels thin. These are heaven's whispers, reminding you that your path is still watched over. Even silence can be a sign. Sometimes, heaven says wait in the language of stillness. And though waiting feels heavy, it is filled with hidden movement. God is not withholding, He's perfecting. You are walking through confirmation right now. The world might call it alignment, but heaven calls it promise, fulfilled in motion. What you once only believed is beginning to take form. The invisible is becoming visible. It's time to acknowledge it, not just with words, but with faith. As a sign of agreement, write this number in the comments: 7,777. This is not ritual, it's remembrance. The number 7,777 represents completion, divine fulfillment, and multiplied grace. Each 7 marks a layer of perfection. 4 of them signify an overflow of it. When you type 7,777, you're declaring God's promises are not pending, they're unfolding. You think of it like ripples on water. Every time you affirm what heaven is doing, the waves move outward, touching lives, creating motion, signaling agreement. You're aligning yourself with heaven's current, saying, I see it, I receive it. I believe it. Lee, and as you make that small act of acknowledgement, something shifts in the unseen. Heaven responds to recognition. Gratitude multiplies grace. What you confirm, God establishes. You are living in answered prayers that once felt impossible. You are walking through evidence that faith works. Even when logic fails, the clouds are clearing, and the light ahead is not imagined, it's promised. Soon, you'll understand why everything had to align this way. Why certain people came and left. Why some prayers took years. Why silence had to echo before sound returned. It was all preparing you for confirmation that cannot be mistaken for coincidence. Heaven has heard. The signs are real. The fulfillment has begun. And every time you whisper, "Thank you," into the quiet, another door swings open, one you didn't even know was waiting. So look closely at your days. Pay attention to the soft evidence around you. It's not random, it's revelation. There comes a moment when the tide begins to turn, not loudly, not with a sudden crash, but with a quiet pull that shifts everything beneath the surface. What once pushed against you now begins to carry you. That's the nature of divine reversal. God doesn't just stop what was meant for harm, He repurposes it for good. We find in the writings of Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Every injustice, every disappointment, every heartbreak you've endured was not wasted. It was material for the masterpiece heaven has been shaping. You may not have seen it then, but God has been weaving redemption through every broken thread. The turning of the tide doesn't mean the waves disappear. It means the current changes direction. What once carried you away from peace will soon deliver you toward purpose. There's a rhythm in divine justice. It doesn't always happen in the timing you expect, but it always happens in the measure heaven decides. God doesn't forget wrongs done to you. He records them, not for vengeance, but for vindication. Think of a seed buried under the soil. It looks like death, but burial is just the beginning of resurrection. The dirt that covers it is not a grave, it's a cradle. The same way, the seasons that tried to bury you only planted you deeper in destiny. You've been through moments where you thought, "This can't possibly work out for my good." But the mystery of divine reversal is that God uses what broke you to build you. He allows certain storms not to drown you, but to clean the path for what's next. There was a man named Silas who once lost everything: his home, his friends, even his faith. He said it felt like standing in an ocean at midnight. But years later, he looked back and realized that what he thought was destruction was direction. The job that rejected him led to the city where he met the people who changed his life. The heartbreak that crushed him freed his heart for what was truly meant for him. What looked like loss was actually relocation. That's how God works. He hides progress inside pain. The very thing you thought was pushing you back was positioning you forward. When heaven turns the tide, it doesn't announce the reversal. It simply shifts the current. Suddenly, the people who ignored you remember your name. The opportunities that closed begin to reopen in better places. Doors that once denied you start to invite you in. It's not luck, it's divine sequencing. Sometimes, God will even use your enemies to deliver blessings. Pharaoh had to chase Israel before the Red Sea could open. Opposition is often the final signal that breakthrough is near. The enemy always fights hardest, right before freedom arrives. And the reversal isn't only external, it's internal. You start seeing yourself differently. You stop needing approval from those who misjudged you. You no longer chase what once rejected you. That's not pride, it's peace. You've learned that what left you was never meant to last. The turning of the tide often begins with forgiveness. Before God changes your surroundings, He heals your heart. Bitterness keeps you anchored to old battles. When you release it, the waters shift. Forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was right. It means it no longer rules you. When divine justice moves, it's not about revenge, it's about restoration. God doesn't just balance the scales, He rebuilds them. He returns more than what was lost. For every tear you cried, He prepares a harvest of joy. For every closed door, He builds a new entrance, tailor-made for your calling. There's a saying in heaven's rhythm, what breaks you today will bless you tomorrow. And when tomorrow comes, you'll see that every delay, every detour, every denial was setting up the perfect unveiling. You may not feel it yet, but the current is shifting beneath your feet. The pressure you feel now is not resistance, it's the undertow of transformation. God is reversing the flow. And soon, what chased you will begin to flee. Let patience do its work. Divine justice doesn't rush, it ripens. The same God who watched your suffering has already written your restoration. And when it happens, you won't even feel the need to say, I told you so. Peace will speak for you. People will see the reversal and know it was never your strength, it was your surrender. So, stand still and let the tide turn. Don't fight the current, follow it. What once worked against you is now working for you. The sea is shifting, the ground is steady, and heaven is whispering, now, watch what I make of this. End through. There comes a moment when obedience demands more than comfort. It doesn't ask for understanding, it asks for surrender. It's one thing to say, I trust God, and another to act like it when everything inside you wants to pause. Yet that is where real faith begins, in the step that feels uncertain but is guided by peace. The sacred scriptures declare in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 22, do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Obedience is the bridge between revelation and reality. You can hear truth 100 times, but it transforms only when you walk in it. Heaven doesn't measure faith by feelings, it measures it by footsteps. There's a moment in every believer's journey when God says, now move. It rarely comes when you feel ready. It often arrives when you feel least qualified, least equipped, least certain. That's the point. Obedience has never been about confidence in self. It's always been about confidence in God. Obedience looks different for everyone. For some, it's leaving a place that no longer fits. For others, it's forgiving someone who never apologized. Sometimes, it's releasing control over a situation you've been gripping too tightly. Whatever form it takes, it will always stretch your trust. Think of Abraham. He didn't receive a full map, only a direction. Go to the land I will show you. The road began with mystery, not clarity. Yet, because he moved, an entire nation was born. That's the pattern of God's promises. They often begin with vague instructions and end in visible miracles. There was a woman named Thea who spent years building a career that looked successful but felt empty. One night, during a prayer that felt more like exhaustion than faith. She heard it clearly. Let it go. At first, she dismissed it as fear, but the whisper grew stronger until she finally obeyed. Months later, she found herself leading a project that impacted hundreds of families. Her obedience unlocked purpose she didn't even know she had. That's what obedience does. It multiplies, meaning it turns confusion into clarity and transforms loss into legacy. But obedience often comes with silence. God gives the instruction, but doesn't always explain the outcome. The silence isn't punishment, it's trust training. It's heaven saying, will you still follow even when the road curves out of sight? We often think obedience means success will follow immediately. But sometimes it leads to waiting. Look at Noah. He built an ark before rain had ever fallen. People mocked him. Yet, obedience required him to build in faith, not by forecast. When the flood came, the ark became proof that obedience always precedes understanding. The most powerful steps of obedience are rarely public. They happen in secret decisions, the apology you give when pride screams not to, the boundary you draw, the yes you whisper to God in your room when no one is watching. Those unseen acts are the ones heaven honors most. Obedience doesn't make life easier, it makes it clearer. When you walk in divine instruction, even chaos becomes directional. The Spirit turns confusion into confirmation one step at a time. It's like walking through fog. You don't need to see the whole path, you just need to trust the light for the next step. The lamp doesn't move until your foot does. And yes, obedience can cost you. It may cost relationships, reputation, or comfort. But what it gives back is far greater peace. The peace that comes when you know you're standing exactly where you're meant to be. Sometimes, obedience requires letting go of good things to make room for divine things. It's not always about sacrifice, it's about exchange. God never asks you to release something unless He's already prepared something better. You'll know it's obedience when your flesh hesitates, but your spirit exhales. When it doesn't make sense, yet peace surrounds it. When you can't explain why, but you know it's right. And here's the truth. Few say aloud, disobedience doesn't always lead to disaster. It leads to delay. Heaven doesn't revoke destiny. It simply pauses it until obedience resumes. So, if you've been sensing that nudge in your spirit, the quiet go, speak, or forgive. Listen. Don't let fear disguise itself as wisdom. Delay might feel safe, but obedience is sacred. One step is all it takes. The rest unfolds as you move. The Red Sea didn't part until feet touched the water. Miracles often wait for motion. You don't need to have every answer, you just need to respond to the call. Heaven doesn't ask for perfection, only participation. And when you finally act, even trembling, you'll discover what every obedient soul learns. Obedience doesn't just change circumstances, it changes you. Everything that can be shaken is being shaken, but not to destroy. To reveal what will remain. The tremors you feel in your life right now are not punishment, they are alignment. Heaven is removing what can't stand, so that what's eternal can finally rise. The ancient words recorded in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 27, remind us. The words once more indicate the removing of what can be shaken, that what cannot be shaken may remain. When God begins to shake the ground beneath you, it's not to make you fall, it's to make you firm. He allows temporary instability so that eternal strength can surface. It's his way of separating what's passing from what's permanent. You've probably noticed it already, people shifting away, plan dissolving, doors closing, for reasons you can't explain. At first, it feels like loss, but soon you realize it's liberation. God isn't taking things from you. He's making space for things that won't break when storms come. The shaking is mercy in motion. It's heaven saying, "You don't need to keep carrying what I'm trying to replace." Think of an old house being restored. The builders must first test the structure. The walls that can't bear weight must come down. Not because they're hated, but because they're unsafe. When the dust settles, what remains is strong enough to hold a new design. That's what God is doing inside you. He's rebuilding on truth, removing the scaffolding of fear and replacing it with foundations of faith. You're not collapsing, you're being rebuilt. Every shaking season is also a revealing season. It shows what's been quietly faithful all along. When the noise fades and the crowd thins, what's left is what's real. There's a story about a craftsman who shaped violins. Each time he finished one, he struck it lightly with his knuckle and listened to its resonance. If the sound rang clear, he smiled. If it dulled, he went back to refine the wood. That gentle test was never about breaking the instrument. It was about unlocking its best sound. That's you in God's hands. The shaking is not judgment, it's tuning. The vibration is creating resonance so your life can carry heaven's song without distortion. You may not realize it, but your faith is sounding clearer than ever. Heaven hears it in every choice, to trust instead of panic, to love instead of resent, to keep standing when quitting would be easier. And when you look around and see the remnants of what's been removed, don't mourn, marvel. The emptiness you feel is not void, it's invitation. It's space for the new melody God is composing through your story. This message, these words, this space, it's part of that melody too. You've found your way here, not by accident, but by alignment. Every person who listens, who feels something stir in their spirit, adds one more note to this symphony of awakening. That's why we keep the sound alive together. Every like, every share, every comment becomes an echo of faith in the digital wilderness. It's like striking a bell in a faraway valley. The sound travels farther than you'll ever know. Each word you leave behind becomes a footprint of light. Someone else will step there and find hope waiting. And if you subscribe, it's like choosing to stay close to the fire, to warm yourself and others by the same flame. You're not joining a platform, you're choosing to be part of a circle of light that keeps growing wider. For those who feel moved to donate, think of it not as giving away, but as planting resonance. Each gift becomes a note that sustains the harmony, helping this message reach those still lost in the noise. What you give becomes invisible sound waves that travel where even words can't. But let it always be your choice, not your obligation. True generosity flows like music. It can't be forced. It's an offering of gratitude that says, "I've been strengthened by this. May it strengthen someone else." Because in this shaking world, every act of light matters. Every time you press share, you throw another star into the sky. Every comment is a lantern swinging in the dark. Every donation is a string added to the instrument God is playing through this work. So stay with the sound. Help it travel, not because you must, but because you can. because beauty multiplies when it's passed on. One day, when you hear your own story and someone else's breakthrough, you'll realize that your small act of faith helped keep the resonance alive. The shaking isn't ending, it's refining. And through it all, the unshakable remains: faith, love, and the quiet courage to keep saying yes to light. There is a silence that doesn't feel empty, it feels sacred. It's the kind of stillness that comes after a long storm, when the air smells of renewal and the world feels freshly washed. That's where you are now, standing in the quiet aftermath of everything that once tried to break you. And instead of ruin, you found clarity. The sacred scriptures reveal in the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 23, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." You are walking in the dawn after the dark. The sky hasn't fully brightened yet, but there's a faint light ahead, the soft glow of restoration. This is the stage where God rebuilds you, not with noise or spectacle, but with gentleness. Restoration doesn't arrive with applause, it arrives quietly, through ordinary days that suddenly feel lighter than before. After the shaking, after the refining, after the surrender, comes the rebuilding. The structure may look different now, but it's stronger, simpler, and truer. You've let go of what was unnecessary, and what remains is the essence of who you were always meant to be. Healing doesn't happen all at once. It's a slow weaving together of threads once torn apart, like a tapestry mended by invisible hands. Each new stitch carries grace from the one who refused to let you unravel. You've learned that wholeness is not the absence of scars, it's the peace that exists in spite of them. There was once a woman named Sarah who used to say, "I miss the person I was before the pain." But one day, she realized the pain hadn't ruined her, it had refined her. The laughter that returned afterward was quieter but deeper, more aware of its own value. Her joy became something sacred, not naive. That's what happens when God restores you. Don't go back to who you were. You rise into someone new. You might feel like you're still piecing yourself together, but that's the holy work. Broken pieces in God's hands don't return to their old shape. They become mosaics, patterns of redemption that only light can reveal. The cracks don't disqualify you. They become pathways for grace to shine through. Sometimes you'll notice traces of the past, trying to return a thought, a fear, a memory. Don't be discouraged. Shadows can only appear where there's light. The presence of those thoughts isn't proof that you've failed. It's proof that you've healed enough for contrast to exist. Restoration also means rest. For so long, you've fought, prayed, and held on. Now, God invites you to simply be. Rest isn't laziness, it's trust in action. It's the quiet declaration that says, I don't have to fight every battle anymore. Some victories sustain themselves. And even nature understands this rhythm. After fire, forests don't rush to regrow, they let the ashes feed new life. Rivers don't panic when drought comes, they trust the rain's return. The world knows how to heal because it was formed by a God who restores. The same God who guided you through storm and silence is now teaching you the art of stillness. You are learning to live without striving, to breathe without fear, to exist without apology. That's what restoration feels like, not loud celebration. But quiet alignement. In this stage, Peace stops being an idea and becomes your default language. You start recognizing the beauty in slow mornings, in laughter shared with friends, in prayers that no longer sound desperate but grateful. You stop searching for signs and start resting in knowing there's strength in softness. It takes courage to be gentle after chaos, to love again after loss, to dream again after disappointment. Yet that's exactly what restoration empowers you to do. Look at your reflection now, not with pride, but with awe. You've survived every storm meant to sink you. You've carried the weight of seasons and still chosen light. You are not who you were, and that's a gift. The old version of you couldn't hold what's coming next. This is your rebirth, your quiet rising. No trumpets, no thunder, just light filling the cracks, grace flowing where guilt once lived, and hope standing tall in places that once trembled. Restoration doesn't erase the past, it redeems it. It takes every scar and turns it into a story worth telling. Every loss and makes it proof that resurrection is real. You're not waiting for God to rebuild you. He already is. Right here, right now, in every heartbeat that still chooses faith. So breathe deeply. Feel how stillness no longer feels strange. It feels like home. The battle has ended, but the beauty has only begun. Every journey has a summit, the moment when the climb makes sense. You've walked through fire, waited through silence, stood through storms, and now the air feels thinner, purer. You are reaching the height of understanding, where pain and peace no longer war against each other, but coexist like mountain and sky. The word of the Lord declares in the book of Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Completion. This is what all the refining, the waiting, and the surrender were preparing you for. God is not a builder who abandons his blueprints. What he started in you will not remain unfinished. Every delay, every detour, every tear was a brushstroke in a masterpiece that's only now coming into focus. At this height, you begin to see what you couldn't from the valley. The very paths that once felt meaningless now form a pattern of divine precision. You realize that nothing was wasted, not even the mistakes. The missteps became lessons, the waiting became wisdom. The pain became preparation for peace. Completion isn't perfection. It's harmony. It's the moment when your inner world and heaven's timing align. You don't have to strive anymore, you just have to stay. There's a quiet joy that comes with that realization. You stop needing every answer because you finally trust the one who writes them. You start to understand that peace isn't found in control, but in surrender. You are no longer trying to make life fit your plan. You're letting life follow his rhythm. Think of a potter shaping clay. The process looks messy, the wheel spins fast. Hands press hard, but the motion is sacred. When the potter finally stops, it's not because the clay gave up, it's because the form is complete. The vessel can now hold what it was made to carry. That's you. You've reached the point where your capacity has been shaped by fire, smoothed by time, and sealed by faith. There was a man named Johann who once said, "I kept asking God for a miracle until I realized my endurance was the miracle." That's what completion feels like, not a sudden event, but a slow unveiling of grace you've been living in all along. You start recognizing divine fingerprints in the details, the people who stayed, the moments that healed, the strength that appeared from nowhere, you stop asking, "Why did this happen?" and begin to say, "Now I see." Completion isn't the end of the story. It's the transformation of perspective. You realize you were never walking toward blessing, you were walking with it. It was with you in every valley, in every prayer, in every breath that refused to give up. And the most beautiful part of completion is this: it brings peace without pride. You don't look back in arrogance, you look back in awe. You begin to see how every broken season became the soil of your blooming. Every fall taught you flight. Every tear trained your sight. At this summit, you no longer fear the climb because you know the view was worth it. And you no longer fear new beginnings because you've learned endings are simply disguised rebirths. Completion doesn't mean the journey is over. It means you are now strong enough to walk differently. You carry stillness where there used to be striving. You carry compassion where there used to be comparison. You carry clarity where there used to be confusion. The mountain taught you perspective. From here, you can see valleys not as prisons, but as classrooms. You can see storms not as curses, but as catalysts. You understand now that God never abandoned you in the climb. He was the breath keeping you steady, the strength in your legs, the light at the peak. And when you finally look down from this height, you won't see the scars. First, you'll see the shine. You'll see how grace glimmered through every shadow, how mercy built stairways out of ashes, how faith made footholds where there were none. Completion is not applause, it's quiet gratitude. It's the smile you wear when you realize you made it, not by your might, but by His mercy. You don't need to shout it from the mountain. Just stand there in peace. Let the wind move around you. Let the silence speak. The climb was never for show. It was for shaping. And now that you've reached this place, don't rush down. Stay a moment. Breathe the air of fulfillment. Look back and thank the valleys that taught you endurance. Look ahead and trust that this peace will follow you wherever you go next. Because the journey isn't over, it has simply become whole. And now, the circle is complete. You've walked through every season, darkness, silence, refining, and rising, and you've come out carrying light. This is the moment where reflection becomes gratitude, where stories turn into songs, and where faith becomes movement. If these words have met you in the right moment, then they've already done their work. What happens next is not about obligation, it's about continuation. Every like, every share, every quiet comment keeps this light moving through the world. It's not just engagement, it's energy. Each comment you leave is like carving your name into light. It tells heaven, I was here, and I still believe. Each tap, each word you leave behind, is another spark flying outward to reach someone still waiting for hope. Subscribe, not as a routine, but as a rhythm. Staying connected here is like staying near a campfire that never goes out. Each message, each story, each reminder is another flame you can warm your heart by. And if your spirit feels stirred to donate, let it be a gesture of gratitude, not requirement. Think of it as pouring a drop of oil into a lamp so it can burn longer for others still wandering in the dark. Every act of generosity becomes invisible motion, a current of grace that carries these words farther than any algorithm ever could. Because this has never been just a message, it's been a meeting. Heaven met earth here, through you. So, before you go, Pause. Breathe. Let this moment settle like morning light. You are seen, chosen, and remembered. And as you move forward, remember, the rescue isn't a single event, it's a way of life. Keep the flame alive. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Give if you feel led. But above all, carry the light. The world still needs it. And you are proof that heaven still moves.